one sometimes. The fee shift
I pledge
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Roll call. Collins.
Here.
Baloo.
Here.
Contos. Van.
Here.
Amstutz. Here. Buxton. Here. Everyone received the meeting minutes for the August 4th meeting. Any amendments? Hearing none, minute stands approved. Takes us to public speaks. Sue.
Nothing, sir.
Showalter.
Just update on safety.
Bob.
Cameras, it's August 1st.
Yeah.
18th, school
Yeah.
starts tomorrow.
Yeah.
And it is still crazy as ever. I almost got wiped out on a motorcycle getting the mail about 15 minutes ago.
There was a delay on getting the equipment, but it has been on order. And so the expected, Chief, correct me if I'm wrong, the expected install date is now beginning of October, right?
Actually, he said it should be sometime in September. He said
Okay.
there was a 30 to 45 day delay because of them getting parts from vendors.
I'm just curious on the update. Like I said, the kids are back in school tomorrow. And it's crazy.
I agree with you. It
It's
is
crazy.
bad out there.
I mean, it's not just 172, it's pretty much village-wide.
Alright. If anyone else for public speaks, will take us into committee reports. Service.
Okay, underwater, Wangers completed the hookup from the tower to the new line on Center Street. We've also installed a new fire hydrant. It will also serve as the drain for the tower now. That was not done like that in the past, so it's very convenient. Water tower is filled as of now. We gotta wait 24 hours for a bacteria test. Once that result comes back and it's clear, wait another 24 hours for another bacteria test. When the results come back and it's all clear, we can put the tower back online. Today we had Berger Associates putting in the transducer, the pressure gauge, also made sure that the antennas are aligned and communicating properly so that when we get back online, there's no problem with that. Put 2 new lights on top of the water tower while they were up there. We had a water break on Leapers Alley this past Saturday. I want to thank Kurt and the mayor for coming out and helping try to locate it. It was in a rush because of the short amount of water that we have compared to normal in our storage. So thank you guys for that. This Canton raised our rates 3.4% this year. We do have an ordinance that states that we usually raise it 2% on top of that. Now, it was either last year or the year before. I was talking with Dave. I think it was the year before last meeting. We did not raise it 2%. My personal thing is with everything going the way it is and costs going up, the electric and all that, maybe we don't do the 2% this year, but we do the capital improvements from 665 roughly up to an even 10. That way it's a constant number and it's not a fluctuating number in percentage wise with people's water. They know what they're going to pay every 2 months. So if you take that, it's only like $1.75 a month more. And that goes towards the capital improvements. That's just my recommendation. I'm asking for your thoughts on this.
Yeah, I agree with that. I think that makes sense.
They can see a new water tower, so that helps.
Correct. The new water main over there, yeah.
I'd like to see the guy hanging on the little chair painting.
That was entertaining.
Oh, yeah. Mandy David.
Anybody else have some thoughts on that?
So it's going from 6 what?
Roughly 665. I'll have to get you the number roughly 665. I'd like to make it an even 10. And that's every 2 months.
That money there will not go towards the operations of the water department. That money there would have to go towards the repayment of any loans or any capital improvements that we did. That account balance is currently sitting at, I believe, $45,000, but that's what we're going to be paying the loan for the water tower and the Center Street project out of.
Was it last year or the year before, Kurt? Do you happen to know? that
Last year, we waived it.
Last year we waived the 2%.
Yeah.
So this will be 2 years in a row of not giving any percent towards the water system.
Actually, that account balance currently sits at $39,364.80. Raising that to $10 will bring in approximately $13,000 to $14,000 annually.
What would be better to do with operating expense versus loan repayment, Kurt? Split the difference between the two, or?
I can't really answer that right at this particular time. This just came up right before the meeting, so I haven't really spent any time on this.
Well, we can discuss it. I can bring it back to you next council meeting if you guys want to maybe have a work session, or when we find out more information, we can discuss it next meeting maybe.
When did that increase take effect?
March.
March.
This year. No, it increased March of this year.
Oh, it already did.
Yes.
That's the Canton increase. They usually increase it in March. Billing.
And if we increase the rate, we can use that for his operating expense.
Only if you would do the additional 2% increase.
Right.
On top of that.
Yeah.
That would go into the operating cost. If you do the capital improvement increase, it goes towards strictly capital improvements,
Okay.
not operational costs.
If you wanted to do the 2%, you don't have to do anything. You already have a standing ordinance, correct, for that?
Correct.
But
Where,
if we waive it, we have to have
Yeah,
an ordinance
yeah,
to waive it, yes.
When was the last time we had that an increase? I know, so we waived it last year.
we waived our portion last year. Canton still had an increase, so we passed that along, of course.
Okay, that was my question.
Yeah.
So we still pass along that increase, we just don't
Yes,
do it up here.
yes. I
Correct.
think Kansas was 7% last year, if I remember correctly.
I think it's 2 or 3 years in a row, 7%.
Yeah, it's pretty hefty last year.
So we still pass on the 8% or?
Yes.
Okay, so we just want to table that for next meeting. We can get some more information on the 2%, what it's gonna.
It's up to council if they want.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think we need some more info to make a better decision.
We'll do that. Okay, other roads, patch some potholes. Many of the state signs along Route 30 are being replaced, so we've been overwhelmed with hoof markings. But those have been completed. They're wrapping up that sign replacement tomorrow. Started speed tables today on Church from Berger to Cedar. They'll be closed until next Monday. Walnut from Market to Cedar should be closed the same amount of time. Just depends on how long it takes the concrete to cure and when they pour it. So it usually takes about 3 days to cure is what they want. Under parks, the bridge on the one playground equipment, the one panel that we've talked about Nick before, it's rusted out. It's becoming an issue because I've talked with a company that we put the new playground equipment in with, and the playground company that built the one that exists down there from the old school apparently no longer exists. So trying to find replacement parts for that is like non-existent. So I'm trying to work with them to try to fab something in, but there's all kinds of safety issues because it's a 10-foot span. And I wanted to put like a rock wall on one side, maybe a spin climber thing on the other, and it has to be 6 foot in between for safety issues for fall. And we only got a 10-foot span. So one might take up 6 foot, this might take up 3 foot. So that's 9 foot, it's only leaving a foot span. So we're looking at possibly just putting up some barriers at the top, cutting the bridge completely out, leaving it open, but putting barriers up in each end. I've been putting caution tape up. We keep going back and checking, it keeps getting tore down. So I just don't want nobody to get injured. So try to take that as fast as possible. Just waiting on that company to get back with me some cost on that. I have a quote for the basketball pickleball court reconstruction. The amount was $67,510. I'll pass this around. The top one is the black top. That's to get, I believe, milled down 2 inches and 1.5 inches put back on top. The bottom one would be the fencing company from Southway Fence. And you'll have to add the two together because that was put separate in case we wanted to go ahead with the pickleball. for now. That's separate price, and then there's another price for everything except for the pickleball, so we just combine the two together, get a total price, so that's how I come up with that money. It is a pretty big project, so I don't know, obviously it's not something that's gonna get done this year, but it's definitely something we should look into next year, because it's definitely an issue. The fence has been there since Grant took Richmond, so. I'll stay on top of that for next year, try to work that into next year's plan with Kurt. Me and Kurt could talk, maybe grant or a loan or something like that, maybe. It definitely needs to be done. All right, under zoning, we had our variance meeting with the zoning board of appeals. Dave, do you want to take this from here, where we're at with that?
So there was I believe I shared it with council, but there was a request from the East Canton Church of God for a zoning variance in regards to an addition that they wanted to place on an existing structure on one of their parcels. The reason for the required variance was that the structure would then not have the 10-foot setback from the property line. The impacted parcel is also owned by the Church of God, their parking lot, the main parking lot there. But being that it would require a variance, we wanted to make sure it went through the formal steps. The zoning board voted to move forward with approving that variance and put it in front of council for consideration. The second part of that was discussed for council to consider is whether to accept payment for the zoning request and also the variance request. The zoning application for zoning is a $50 fee, which we have the check but did not deposit, and the variance fee is $100. So two separate things to consider: one, to approve the variance, and two, whether to accept payment for said zoning permit variance.
Being part of the zoning board, just to let everybody know, so letters were delivered, neighbors, things like that, so that nobody came to a zoning meeting opposed. At this point, I just feel it's formality, just because we don't know in the future that the church will continue owning both parcels. That's the other reason why we decided to go forward with the variance. Any questions on?
I don't have any objection.
No sidewalk there or
It's in the back. Yeah.
lines or?
You know what the parking lot is? The barn that's there, the garage, built on the back side. So it's not even gonna touch the parking lot itself.
Just motion allowing the variance and waiving their fees.
Yeah, allowing the variance of 7 foot 8 inches.
That's where they stash the clothes and stuff.
Little.
Motion to allow the variance 7 foot 8 inches for the rear lot. Because it essentially would be a little over 2 foot space between the new structure and the line.
That's 2.4 inches. isn't it?
Yeah.
2 foot 4 inches.
I'll make a motion. As well as waiving their fees, being it's a church.
Yeah, I'll second.
All right, roll call. Collins.
Yeah.
Baloo.
Yeah.
Consos.
Yay.
Dan.
Yes.
Amstutz.
Yeah.
Buxton.
Yeah.
You'll pass along that information.
Absolutely.
Okay.
I'll make a phone call tomorrow.
For each, there should be a separate resolution on the fees.
I'll make the motion to just waive the fees.
I'll second.
Roll call. Collins.
Yeah.
Baloo.
Yeah.
Consos.
Yay.
Dan.
Yes.
Amstutz. Buxton.
Yeah.
You'll communicate.
Yes, I will. I'll
The
call
check's
them,
sitting on my desk, so if you just want to take it back to them, you
Yeah.
can, or if
and
they
I'll call
want
them
to just.
tomorrow and meet with them and
Yeah.
see if they have any further questions and tell them they're approved.
Thank
Thank you, guys.
Thanks.
All right, takes us to safety. Chief?
Good evening. So last week we held our national night out and for the first one. It was very successful. We had a great turnout. Thank you to you gentlemen that stopped by and gave us some assistance with that, or just came to say hello. The support was really appreciated. I know the officers definitely appreciated it. In addition to that, this week we've been working a little bit on cleaning some things up around the department. We got a new set of used lockers for evidence. We took out the old wood storage cabinet that was in the garage, purged a lot of the old stuff in there that was no good anymore. And we're going to mount the new lockers. There are 6 of them to the wall, using that to secure our evidence that we collect in the interim of placing it into the evidence room. In addition to that, I met with Louisville's chief last week. We discussed starting an MOU, or actually, I guess most parties agree that we had one at one point in time, but nobody seems to have a copy of it. So we're going to make a new one. We're going to work together on that. But she extended the courtesy of just verbally letting us know if we needed any assistance here, that they would be more than happy to assist. And I told her likewise, if they needed anything there, we would do the same for them. But both of us are very anxious to start a good working relationship with each other. Trying to formulate the best way to handle police practices in the area. So it was a very, very productive meeting. In addition to that, we have been working, we got 3 major cases that we're working right now. I can't go into a lot of detail because they're ongoing, but there are going to be more than likely several felony charges coming from these cases. So it's occupied a large portion of the time of the police department investigating these. We've been working with other agencies, such as the Internet Crimes Against Children Task Force. Secret Service has helped us with a lot of stuff. So this is kind of, it's been an all hands on deck type of situation. But we should be, hopefully this week, filing some charges in at least 2 of those cases. In the 3rd case, we're doing some work with Canton, the city, the fire department, and the police department, and possibly some other agencies. So hopefully in the near future, we may have some additional charges for that case coming forward. Other than that, you heard about the delay with the cameras. We talked about that last week, but I have not received any update as far as that goes. So we seem to be proceeding, at least on the tentative schedule that we have now. The new cruiser has been sent to the upfitters, so they are working on that. We hopefully should have that here shortly. And that's pretty much about all that's going on right now. Does anybody have any questions?
Chief, just one thing I wanted to touch on. We have these speed tables going in.
Yes.
That's going to increase traffic on Liberty.
Yes,
If we can make sure our presence is known on Liberty,
absolutely.
at least during the install and some for a period after, I think.
Absolutely.
Appreciate it.
Sure. Anybody else?
We assume they're gonna just give them the next street that they possibly can.
I would
If we
assume
feel
that's
there's
probably.
an officer sitting there, that would help with that.
Yep, we can definitely do that. I mean, it's going to be, obviously limited to when we see the higher volumes.
Yeah.
But yeah, definitely. I mean, this shouldn't be a problem at all. So
I don't think we've ever dealt with the Secret Service before.
It's,
That's pretty cool.
yeah, those guys they've really helped us out a lot, turning around some of the electronics that we have and stuff. So I mean, it's really been great. So anything else?
Just a note for safety, school starts back tomorrow, as most of you know. So I just want to encourage all residents to be mindful of kids walking to school. So we still have a lot that do walk. And I'm sure the PD will be enforcing traffic laws to ensure the safety of those
Absolutely.
kids. So.
All right, thank you.
Thank you.
All right, takes us to judicial.
Ordinance 2025-19, an ordinance to authorize the Village of East Canton fiscal officer to make the following interfund transfer between the general fund, Fund 1,910,910, and the police operating fund, Fund 2904-931-0000, and to declare an emergency. Be hereby ordained by the Council of the Village of East Canton, Ohio. Section 1, that the Village of East Canton authorizes the fiscal officer to perform the following interfund transfer. General fund to police fund transfer, decrease general fund transfers out of Fund 1,910,910,0000 by 100,000, and increase police operating fund 2904-931-0000 by 100,000, effective 8/17/25. Section 2, the Village of East Canton fiscal officer shall certify the increased appropriations to the Stark County Auditor and shall do all things reasonable and necessary to accomplish the purposes of this ordinance. Be it further ordained is hereby found determined that all formal actions of this council concerning and relating to the passage of this ordinance were taken in an open meeting of this council, and that all deliberations of this council and any of its committees that result in such formal action or meetings open to the public in compliance with the law. Be it further ordained that this ordinance is hereby declared to be an emergency measure necessary for the immediate preservation of the public peace, health, safety, convenience, and welfare of the Village of East Canton, and shall be in full force and effect from and after its passage and at the earliest date allowable by law. So,
Second.
Roll call, Collins.
Yeah.
Baloo.
Yeah.
Contos.
Yeah.
Van.
Yes.
Amstutz. Buxton.
motion to suspend the rules.
Second.
Roll call, Collins.
Yeah.
Baloo.
Yeah.
Contos.
Yeah.
Van.
Yes.
Amstutz. Buxton.
Third and final reading of ordinance 2025-19 by title only, an ordinance to authorize the Village of East Canton fiscal officer to make the following interfund transfer between the general fund, Fund 1000-910-910, and the police operating fund 2904-931-0000 and to declare an emergency. So
Second.
Roll call, Collins.
Yeah.
Baloo.
Yeah.
Contos.
Yeah.
Van.
Yes.
Amstutz. Buxton. Anything else for judicial? Takes us to grants. Anything for grants?
Yes, I have spent several hours talking on the phone with Ms. Riggs, and we have compiled a list of names of village officials and area officials that could be conducive to getting a grant from the federal government. It was my intention to email you some of the documents I've generated, but unfortunately my tablet has died. So those will be forthcoming. What I would like to do is those that I have hard copies for. Should be enough for everybody.
Dave. Derek,
Huh?
you need this.
This is just a template of what the letters that we should be receiving from our contributors be like. First off, we needed a name for the project, so I just built the Village of East Canton Waterline Renovation Project. Excuse me. It shows that the grant that we're trying to achieve, it's important to have a estimate of what the entire project's going to be. That way, the recipients of this know exactly what they're, know exactly what they're endorsing. Ms. Riggs put me in touch with the census reporter, censusreporter.gov website, and it lists all the census information for East Canton. As of 2023, there was 1,447 citizens here, and out of those, only 640 were wage earners. So that precludes us really putting any kind of levy out to pay for this project. We need to do our engineering diligence to come up with the scale of the project that needs to be done. So that's going to have to fall to Henry, and anybody else in the service department that needs to have their input. Once we fill these in, then we should be able to send out queries trying to get some reference letters from these individuals. Now, Ms. Riggs suggested that just sending out a letter would be insufficient simply because it's very easy to take a request, set it down, and then lose it. That's why she suggested that in-person interviews would be the best. For example, the Chamber of Commerce is on our, the Stark County Chamber of Commerce is on our list of people. Whoever goes speaks to them. I got a package, a water line package that I've been working with Henry that we can give to them. And so they know exactly what the scale of the project is. And should they find favor with it, give us an endorsement. Now, it's also better to have, let's say there's 6 people on the committee, to have 6 individual letters rather than one letter with 6 names on it. I guess grant writing and endorsements are a volume business. Again, just to set the piece of paper down, it's easy to be lost. But if you set down something the thickness of a phone booth or a phone book, it takes a little bit more notice and carries more weight. Each individual we solicit for an endorsement will actually need to do 2 letters. One addressed to Representative Michael Ruley of the 6th District. He's our House of Representative. And then in the Senate, it's Senator John Houston and Senator Bernie Maria. It is uncertain which one of those takes the lead as far as this grant's concerned, so that's why they're both listed here. Now, both these letters can be exactly the same, they just have to have Dear Senator or Dear Representative on there too. And at the bottom of this, it says to send the letters to me here at the Village Hall, and I'll start collecting them between now and November 30th. The deadline generally is set that way. It gives whoever's doing the grant at least 30 days to collate everything and get it together to submit the application, which I believe is the first of the year, is what our target date is.
So you're saying in order for us to apply for a grant, we have to have support by these individuals? Is that what you're saying? Or have an idea of the project itself?
These are the individuals that control the purse strings in the federal government. These are our representatives. They participate in this congressionally directed spending program. It's a yearly thing. It happens every year. Now, just to write them and say, hey, we need some money for a project, they're not going to give us any money. We need to have a specific plan with some specific numbers showing that we're serious about this. And the reference letters that we're going to solicit from local leaders is just basically a confirmation, yeah, these folks have a lot of problems with their water lines and they need some help.
So this is just basically supporting our request for.
Right, and it doesn't cost them anything but a letter, is all this reference letter is.
And this makes the grant application that much.
It adds a lot more weight to it. It also says that we've already invested X amount of dollars in this project with inquiries for engineering professionals. Whatever that number is basically proof that we've got a lot of skin in this game and it's a serious thing. We've already spent money on it. We've got a plan. Now we need some funds to implement.
Can we include money that we've invested into the water system, like, let's say them, our leaks, valves, to work for the tower, could we say?
I am
Can that go on that line?
Well, I'm working with Henry for a packet that when we go talk to these folks, we'll have a packet for them and we'll review it completely with them. It'll have a narrative of one of our major water breaks, what was entailed with that. It's got the map from down at the office showing all the water main breaks. I showed this to Miss Riggs and she was flabbergasted that our water's still working just in lieu of that picture. This picture speaks a lot of words. And I also got some pictures from Henry. By the way, these will need to be in color when we get ready to use them.
I got some too.
And anything you can add, now generally it's the grant committee that'll go through this. But once you get the list of names, if you have personal relations with any of them and think you might have a better chance of getting their cooperation, I would ask that you do that. I also got from Henry the expenditures for the past year. Now, these expenditures are from January 1, oh, that's the wrong one, or from January 1 or July 1 of 2024 to December 31st, 2024, which is the last half of last year. I guess we had a lot of breaks then, and those are all accounted for on these. And then these ones here are for January 1 of 2025 to June of 2025. This documents our expenditures for all those breaks. So when we talk to somebody, we can say this is what our more recent expenditures are. As you can see from our map on the wall, there's a lot of work to be done. So I'm hoping that it won't be a wrestling match to get endorsements from these people. Now, the local people that know East Canton have been here, it probably won't be too much. And like I said, all it is just a letter from them saying, yeah, they got problems. But there are other government officials on there that know nothing of us other than the fact we're on the map, that may take some convincing. So whoever goes and talks with these people is going to have to be on their game. I'm also going to have to get with Henry because we can't put every single detail in these letters without turning them off. Nobody wants to sit down and read an entire novel if somebody's asking you for something. So I'm going to have to get with Henry and get some specific numbers on labor costs, material costs, current status of stuff. That way, if any of these people, they're probably not going to give us a letter right off the bat. They're going to want to peruse it and think about it, and they may have questions. That's another reason why an in-person interview would be the best way to do that, because then you could field questions. And if you don't have the answer, you know exactly who to go to get them. So that's what I've been working on with this so far. I would also like to ask the council to formalize Ms. Riggs as the grant writer for this project. And I would ask that take the form of an interview. I'd like to actually call for a special meeting for this, have her come in so that we can speak with her again, review some of the documents I'm going to send you, and she can field any questions on the matter. She can also discuss terms, because let's face it, something this big, she's going to want to get paid. We can discuss terms with her and so on, and then after that, if she finds favor with everybody, have her be the grant writer for this project. So the grant committee can do all the legwork, getting everything together, and as it comes in, we can send it right to her. She can start collating it, and then hopefully, barring anything unforeseen, at the first of the year, our application goes out, and then we hope for the best. So that's what I have for grants for tonight. Any questions or comments?
Seems like a lot, but I can understand having support from different representatives as far as pre-grant, I
Yeah,
guess.
the way you kind of said it, without their endorsements, you don't have anything.
All you got is just a couple pieces of paper, basically. So I'm striving to get a phone book grant application is what I'm trying to do.
Just my 2 cents. I think council has to define what the project is relatively quickly. So if it's all the water lines that Council President Blue and I have talked about before, I think that's gonna be a huge project. I'm not saying it wouldn't be approved. Maybe you swing for the fences and I get lucky.
Now, Ms.
But-
Gibbs also said that it's not uncommon to do a project of it. It's a big project to do it in phases. But the trick to that is when you talk to somebody to get their endorsement and they say that they're going to, also question them, well, this is for phase one, phase two is probably gonna happen next year. Can you continue to support us on this? So there's nuances to some of this stuff. Most of the stuff a week ago, I really didn't know anything about, so I don't want to overstress the fact that Ms. Gibbs, I think, would be an asset to this effort.
Just talking out loud, I think those are all valid points, and I think that's a great way to get started. Defining the project is very helpful, because looking at the timeline, I think you're gonna have to, in order to have a project proposal done, engineering done, those are all things we're gonna have to jump on,
You'll never get engineering done by the end of this year.
or at least a project overview, maybe, I don't know. I think the engineering for an extensive, if you're gonna say all the water lines in the village.
You
I
could,
We couldn't afford the engineering for it.
Right.
you could do like a phase.
Yeah, and that's why I'm just saying, I think it's great to look big picture, but also be willing to cut it up in pieces of a pie, right? And, maybe consider that.
And then get with Henry and find out where's the worst water lines and
Now, she also said, I just found this out today, that there is no less than a 25% match on this grant. So we need to bear that in mind as we're cutting things up in pieces apart and stuff.
I think you're better off you just focus on the oldest or worst shaped lines, because 25% of replacing every water line in this town is still bankrupt.
Yeah.
Now, she said that a project like a fire station, a singular building, the matching amount could be different than it is for an infrastructure thing. So that matching amount could change depending on how this rolls. So we just need to bear that in mind as we proceed.
What's the budgetary numbers that we were given before per, I don't want to say mile, but per set increment of new water line? I thought we were given a budgetary number for that. Just to think, I'm thinking dollar and cents wise, right? So we know a budgetary number of how much it costs to replace, 1 mile worth of water line. And you know that budgetary number, and then you can say, okay, we're gonna make sure we budget 25%. Do we have 25% of that to set aside as our cut? And then once you have that defined, how much area you can cover. This is just me talking out loud. If you all want a different approach, then of course it's your prerogative. But once you know how much you can afford to do, then you can define where you want to allocate that money. That would be my suggestion. Once you can.
We're gonna be limited by how much we can match,
Mhm.
basically.
Yeah, exactly. So if you know what the costs are per increment of unit measure, whatever, then I think you can use that information to define biggest need.
I think at one point it was $1.2 million a mile. Now you gotta think that's counting valves,
Mhm.
that's counting hydrants.
That's changed a lot.
Yeah,
because
good. I'm just
the-
saying
The
last
cost
time
of
we talked, I
pipe
think it was
has
1.2.
doubled or tripled in the last 2 or 3 years.
Right.
I heard a guy there say around 300 a foot.
for utility piping like that. I bet.
Where's our worst lines at? Right, what would you say?
Oh, no,
Well, if you-
probably,
Mount Tabor,
I would say Noble, really starting to get bad. Renowski. That's probably the three worst. There's a couple lines that I had talked a little bit about with the contest that we might I'd try to venture to think we might be able to cut out. It's just with dead ends, we gotta really watch that because we want to keep the water circulating. But those are the main ones I would
wherever the
say.
most pins are, I guess.
Yeah, and that's basically on my mind. I'm thinking of those.
But then with the roads, I mean, I know they kind of patch the roads from there, but.
Well, it's part of
I
it.
mean, it's a part of it.
New water and sewer going down the roads, you got open cut ditch.
Yeah.
And then
Okay.
part of it, yeah, putting the road back.
Henry, I need to get with you at some point this week, probably either really early in the morning or way late at night, so we can refine your package a little bit.
So we know what you need.
That's all I got.
Thank you.
Nice job.
Thank you.
Takes us to finance.
Finance, I have one question on uniform allowance, so I've got a invoice here. On the uniform allowances, do we have a way to know what the current budget is for each individual? Meaning if I am approving something, I need to know what the total of that individual is, so I know that
Who
it's,
is that for? Do you know?
Pringle.
He's over. I'm deducting it out of his paycheck.
really not for policy though. Policy is either submit a check as you place the order. So we talked about that before, we're not supposed to be ordering.
I don't order it. I get the invoice. It's already ordered and it's already received. I don't get notification for a PO. I just get the invoice.
Chief, I sent you a text, if you could review that.
Yeah.
Because if we shouldn't be ordering things, we don't have a balance to cover. Unless, of course, we're paying at time of order.
Right, I thought that was the policy.
That was supposed to be, yeah, that was supposed to be what was done with that. So he did have a full balance for his uniform allowance. He hadn't spent anything.
Okay.
So.
No, he spent it.
No, but prior to his purchase, he had a full balance. He hadn't spent anything prior to that.
Mm-mm. Not to that purchase he didn't. He was already overspent when that purchase came through.
He's told me that we were starting from scratch. He told me that he hadn't spent anything this year yet.
How much is that one?
There's two here, total of 656 or 665.
665, so he spent about $1,800 or so.
You can give me the invoices for those so I can give them to him. Because prior to that, because I asked him before he had spent anything, and he told me that he
No,
hadn't
he's
spent anything.
overspent. I'm taking money out of his checks.
I mean, I feel I should exclude this from the invoice.
It's already paid. I mean, I can pull the check, but it's on the village's account.
I don't understand that.
That would be something that you would have to take up with him.
I mean, moving forward, I feel if there's gonna be invoices for uniforms for any individual, there should be a total, so I can make sure that I'm not gonna approve something that's over unless there's a check that's matched with it.
Sure.
Can I ask a question? Kurt, if you knew at one point he was over his allowance, why wasn't it addressed right then?
I get the invoice, Sue, after the purchase is already made. I don't get requests for a purchase order. I get the invoice.
But when you got that invoice and looked at and looked at his account, could you tell then that he was over?
Oh, yeah, I knew the minute I got the invoice.
So wouldn't that be proactive to go to the chief and say, hey, your guy's spending money he
Yeah.
doesn't have?
What was the initial purchase for?
The initial one was new body armor.
Okay. So is that, I mean, because we get that money from a grant, I know we gotta match the 25%, is that, I mean, the
That
whole,
doesn't fall under the grant because the grant goes from September to September. So you don't have the grant
so
yet.
this was all initiated before I got here, but he was under the impression that that was covered under the grant, that should have been covered under the grant.
We don't have a body armor grant.
Because well, they had one for last year.
Mhm.
I've got a folder in my desk saying that they did.
For 23 or
For 24.
24?
Yeah, because they had ordered it and there was a delay in the
I have
actual
no
armor
grant
being
paperwork.
I've got a folder in my desk. I'll make copies of it and get it to you, but they were approved for the grant for 24.
I have no paperwork at all, Chris. None.
So, okay, I'll pull it and I'll make a copy of what I have. I know, because I even asked Josh and they said that they were approved for that for 24 and that this was part of that grant, but it had just been delayed, that it had been ordered under the terms of the grant, but the purchase was delayed because they had some issue with the supplier. I think they were like several weeks out. And that's why it didn't come. So that's what that issue is. I'll get you a copy of what I
I've
have.
got absolutely nothing.
So, yeah, that's,
At this point, I'm gonna make a motion to approve the invoices excluding this invoice in the amount of $665 until we get more details. I mean, just for sake of the policy, yeah, so we figure it out. I'll make a motion for those invoices. Total balance is 55,568.69, but I want to exclude the 665.
I'll second it the way you got it stated.
All right, roll call. Collins.
Yeah.
Baloo.
Yeah.
Contos.
Yeah.
Van.
Yes.
Amstutz. Buck.
And also like to make a motion to approve the payroll in the amount of 18,077.68.
Second.
Roll call. Collins.
Yeah.
Baloo.
Yeah.
Contos.
Yeah.
Van.
Yes.
Amstutz. Buck.
Yay.
Fiscal officer, you guys presented the appropriations report through 820 in the agenda. Any questions? Please make sure you let us know. Anything else for finance?
Yes.
I didn't have it on the printed copy, but there's
There's the report. Yeah, yes,
I
sir.
included that.
Yeah. All right. Perfect. Thanks, sir. Yeah, it's all good. So I had previously emailed the mayor's court report for July 2025. Total for the month was $4,138. Breaks down as follows: $1,775 in fines, $1,583 in local costs, and $780 in state costs. Any questions on that? Anything else to cover?
The next meeting is a Tuesday after Labor Day, correct?
That is correct, yep. Before we adjourn, I'd like to request council consider going into an executive session pursuant to 121.22G, pending litigation.
So moved.
Second.
Roll call. Collins.
Yeah.
Blue.
Yeah.
Hunters.
Yeah.
Van.
Yes.
Amstutz.
Yeah.
Buck.
Yeah.
Charlie, Kurt, council. Chief, you can hang out too. If you're good with it. Yep.
Any action taken after?
And the only, it's up to council, but I think the only action would probably be to adjourn.
3-year-old hold you up in a restaurant.
I spoke with Melissa House. She is the store manager of Dollar General. And she has been having some issues. And I think it's something that the council needs to look into. We know that the outside of the building and the property is not being maintained the way it's supposed to. And up to my conversation with her, I always thought it was just Dollar General sloughing off. Well, as it turns out, that's not what the facts are. Miss House and her staff run the store. Dollar General owns that franchise, but the building and the property is owned by Namdar Realty Group from New York City. And from what I was led to believe, they're the ones that are in charge of maintenance for the property and the building. Something goes wrong, Ms. House submits a work order basically, and they got X amount of time to do it, 30, 60, 90 days. I don't know what it is. Ms. House, I was hoping was going to be at the last meeting to fill in some of the blanks, but she didn't attend. But if the council is going to direct litigation, let's say, towards getting that place up to snuff, we should aim at the right people to do that.
Are we not doing that? I thought we were
Just
mowing
putting a
and
lien.
sending.
Prior notices under Blaine Strutter, when he was here, went to both Dollar General and Namdar.
So we did have that information.
Yes.
Okay, well, I had no knowledge of it, so I've been just looking into Namdar and on their Wikipedia page, you're gonna pass that around to Rob. It tells a little bit about what they do, and my personal opinion is it's not really up and up the way it should be.
They buy dying shopping malls all around, everywhere. They're like the Grim Reaper.
Only thing to do is you get with him,
They
they
do it.
find
They're
all the
huge.
zoning
It's a
deficiencies,
huge.
create a letter and we just send it.
What do they do with them? Maximum return on minimum investment. They pretty much kind of let them die, but make money while they're twitching. That's what they do.
Twice, we're gonna go on our third time this week. They've sent notices each time in charge.
Well, it's obvious they're ignoring anything we
Yeah,
send
so they
them.
never reached back out to us, any letter we've sent, we've heard nothing. I mean, so what are our options? At this point, we keep doing what we're doing and sending, putting liens out there and.
And just for the record, Miss House paid for the filling of the potholes in the parking lot and that storm grate that was giving everybody so much grief. She paid for that out of her own personal income.
That's insane.
Yeah, it is. And there, I guess there's some other things she had paid for too, just to try to keep things decent, but she shouldn't have to do that. So,
Well, we also do not know the details of the lease.
right.
I mean, Dollar General may be responsible for all of it. Dollar General may be responsible just in time. There's a lot that we don't.
Is there any chance you could get a hold of your Dollar General counterpart and nail down some details to make sure
We
things?
could send them a letter, but they're not gonna lightly share that information because it's probably affects thousands of stores, or at least dozens of stores in Northeast Ohio.
Just keep mowing it and sending them.
I had a Dollar General thought going. I go in and out of there and they're always saying how much theft they have and stuff, you know what I mean? It's probably every Dollar General there is. When does it kind of fall on them to be responsible to pay for a security guard to be within their store? Because I mean, what they would really like to have is a dedicated East Canton officer standing in that store from about 3 p.m. to they close every day. Okay, that's what they want. Well, that's not the obligation of his police department or the taxpayers of East Canton to provide security to Dollar General. So when does it become Dollar General's responsibility to secure the store that they've decided to put where it is and that's where people get robbed. When is there a point that becomes the thing?
If they're not mowing the grass, they're not gonna do security.
Well,
When their
Charlie?
losses are enough, they'll take their own security measures. We don't provide store security.
I know we don't, but
Yeah.
I mean, at what point
It's
is
a
it like?
business decision for them to make.
Yeah. They're not gonna do that.
Also, Ms. House said that she was having issues with the police dispatch. When our guys are dispatched to a problem down there, they're there in just a few minutes because they're right here in town. But when the sheriff's department gets dispatched, they start asking how much, what the dollar value of whatever's been stolen is. And she seems to think that if it's not high enough, they don't send anybody else out right away. So that's why I was hoping she would be here and, offer a little bit more insight.
I think a lot of it's just capacity, right? The sheriff only has two deputies on the streets, and it's what they would consider like a petty theft. Do they allocate resources?
Yeah, they're just gonna take a phone report, not
Right.
send an officer.
Right, and I'm not saying that that's the right thing, but I think that's probably what's driving the,
That could very well be.
yeah. Ideally, that wouldn't happen. Ideally, our officers are available. And Chief, do you know how many times has that happened recently?
I can only think of 2 off the top of my head, and it isn't even that recently. It's been a month or 2.
Okay.
Well, if I get a chance to talk with Ms. House again, I'll encourage her to attend the meeting here so we can get a little more details.
Absolutely.
Okay, that's all I have for that.
Any other business for tonight?
Motion to adjourn.
Second.
Roll call. Collins.
Yeah.
Blue.
Yeah.
Contos.
Yeah.
Dan.
Yeah.
Amsterdam. Buxton.
Yeah.